Hey, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tanessa, and if you're new, welcome to my channel. Today I just want to do a look for you guys in celebration of Pride Month, and just talk about my learning experiences of learning about Pride and my experiences of living in a Caribbean island, not knowing much about Pride Month and what it even is, and the LGBTQ community. So if you'd like to see my finished look and hear my thoughts, then keep watching. So I'm just going to go in with my Plouise concealer base in color Rumour 0. And then I'm just going to pair this with my favorite concealer brush from MAC in 212. And it has just a flat shaped brush. Alright, so I'm just going to draw the outline for the cut crease. And this takes a lot of focus. I'm going to leave you guys real quick, draw this out, and then come back and have a chat, okay? So just watch for a little bit. Okay, yeah, I can talk now. Yeah, so Pride Month. I don't know how many of you know what Pride Month is, but Pride Month is basically just a celebration for the LGBTQ community, and just a time for them to be celebrated and enjoyed, and not praised but just uplifted in a time of oppression that they've experienced the worst. So Pride Month happens in June every year. For the past 50 years now, and it started in the States. Stonewall Inn was a bar that was safe for the LGBT community, so that was their hangout in New York. And one night the police raided there. There was loads of raids going on, but that one night I think the LGBTQ community had enough, and they were just like, I'm done being oppressed, tired of this shit. Riots went on for 3 days straight for going for their rights and protesting for just human rights, regardless of if you're a lesbian or gay or queer, or there's human rights that's separately from any religion or belief in any politics or anything. So the Stonewall riots arose from that. And for those of you who don't know, it was a black trans activist named Marsha P. Johnson who was the pioneer of the LGBTQ movement. So if you are for Black Lives Matter, then you have to be Black Lives Matter, including trans, including the LGBT community, else you don't think Black Lives Matter. There's no reason for laws to be set based on someone's gender, sexuality, or race. So that's how Pride Month came about and started. So it started in the States, and then it just spread across England, across Europe, to Germany and France, spread to Australia and New Zealand, and now it's an internationally celebrated month. Just before I get into talking about this more, I just want to let everyone know that I was very much uneducated about this 4 years ago. Living in the Caribbean, I did not know about these things. I didn't learn about these things. It's not something that was taught to me, especially in my house, because I was raised with a Christian family. So coming to the UK has really opened my eyes to a lot of things, and I've had to learn about what's going on in the world and self-educate myself on what Pride Month is and what that means for the LGBT community, and what that means for us who aren't a part of that community, because they're just fighting for them to have a voice, for them to be able to vote, for them to work where they want to work, not be restricted in activities and stuff that are literally just a part of being human and living on this earth and making a living and their happiness. So I was very uneducated about this. These are things that I've looked up and tried to understand. And I think that's because a lot of Caribbean countries and a lot of older people in the Caribbean are homophobic, and that's probably partly because of their religion. like Black people and the Black Lives Matter movement, they've been oppressed and they've had to start their own movement to fight for their rights. So I ain't an expert, just letting you guys know. I'm just talking about what I've seen, what I've learned,
and what I've not seen and what I've not learned from being in Cayman, because I think that they weren't comfortable enough to express themselves there. At least that was the case when I was younger. I don't know if it's happening now.
Okay, so I lived in a Christian household, grew up with a Christian family. I mean, I think a lot of people in the Caribbean were raised in a Christian home with a Christian family predominantly, and I don't want to get too religious or biblical, but you know, they've always preached that the Bible says it's man and wife. It didn't say man and man or woman and woman. And that might be hard for some people watching this video to hear, but that's what the Bible says. So that's what's been instilled in us and preached to us from day one. They forget to say, you know, this is just our religious belief. This does not give you the right to treat someone with disrespect or disregard them as a person. They forget to tell us, you know, those people have rights too. It's not to say because they choose to love the same sex or they choose to change their private area or live a certain way that they have less of a right than you. They forget to tell us that.
And in all honesty, it ain't our business. They do what they want to do because it's their life, and we ain't supposed to be pushing our beliefs on them. They live their life how they want to live their life.
I think our generation is so much more accepting and understanding and, you know, more willing to learn and fight for our rights. I think in the olden days, you do exactly what your parents say, and if your parents don't believe in something, you ain't supposed to be believing in it. And that's so different nowadays. The millennials and Gen Z, they're rising up, they're fighting for what they believe in, they're making a stance in everything that we feel should be the norm in the first place. And so I'm proud to be a part of a generation that fights for everyone's rights. I mean, even the Black Lives Matter movement that started up again. I mean, when I say started up again, it's every time a Black guy or a Black person gets killed by the police, it's a whole trend, and then after that it dies down, and that's not how it should be. But that's why I say this trend that started up again. Yeah, so when the Black Lives Matter movement and the protest started up again, you see people showing out. I mean, where I live in England, I never even thought that many people lived there. And that's what we have to do. That's what we have to do for my Jamaican coming out. That we have to do for fight. We have to fight for our rights. It's a sensitive topic for a lot of people, but I don't think it needs to be a sensitive topic. It needs to be normalized to talk about these things. And it's just so difficult when there are people who are saying, oh yeah, well, I don't believe that they should be like that, and it's something that they choose. It's not something that they choose. I've learned that, because again, I ain't no expert and I didn't born knowing these things. I've had to learn these things, and you know, it may be difficult for a lot of people watching what I'm saying right now. I don't know who shares the same experience as me, but living in the Caribbean, you didn't learn these things. Like, what even is Pride Month? Did you know what that is? Because I had no idea what that was, or what it even stood for.
I doubt a pride parade would ever happen in any Caribbean island. I mean, there's probably only 2 or 3 Caribbean islands that legalize same-sex marriages. And they're not run by Caribbean countries, they're run by either the States or France or something.
Because just like race, just like racism is something that's taught, the important thing with the LGBT movement is also about education. Guys, I can't believe it. I got up and went to pause the recording, and the recording stopped. I finished my eyes. I finished my eyes, I did the black line and everything, and none of it was recorded. But I don't want to throw this video out, so I'm just going to show you guys how I got the black liner on my eye and just how I made sure to keep my hand steady and continue to finish my look. So what I'm gonna do is put the, like, that's not my palm, that's my palm, but like put this part of my hand on my face, and it keeps my wrist steady. All that's moving would be my fingers. So I'm just gonna go ahead and show you guys that.
I'm not bashing the Caribbean because I'm from the Caribbean. I just think Caribbean countries can do a lot more to promote education on the LGBT movement. And in high school, if you did anything that was a bit too flamboyant for some people, they would throw it around like, oh, you gay or what? And, you know, use it as an insult, as if being gay is insulting. It's just sheer disregard for that person's life because they decide to like the same sex or decide not to, I don't know, associate themselves with the gender that they were born.
It's literally basic rights as human beings is what they're fighting for, and that's the key in this whole Pride Month, in the Pride Parade, in gay liberating organizations, all of those things. That's literally what they're fighting for, and I think that's what people have to see. No one's telling you to disregard your religion, but have some morals.
Because if you think about it, you really would sit there with yourself and think, oh, that person is homosexual, so he doesn't deserve to live. She's transgender, so she doesn't deserve to have a job and work any money to provide for her family. Oh, she shouldn't be able to adopt because she's not a she. Do you really hear yourself when you say these things?
So guys, just let me know what you think about what I've said, and I'm talking to you guys in the Caribbean. I'm talking to you guys anywhere in the world who was raised in a Christian home. I'm talking to you guys who were uneducated about what Pride Month really is and how the LGBTQ community has been oppressed. I'm talking to you guys who just was not aware of all these things that are going on. Just let me know what you think. You know, what have you experienced? Is it a case of me just growing up in a cave or something? Or, you know, who else has experienced this? What I've felt, the things that I was unaware of, and having to teach yourself about these things. Who else has had to do that? Obviously there's a lot that we all don't know, and it's a constant learning process. And for any member of the LGBTQ community who's watched this video, I see you. I support your rights because you're human, hon. Why black people can't have rights? Why homosexual people can't have rights? Is it because they weren't raised seeing it? And that's not an excuse, because I wasn't raised seeing it, and here I am. So it's not really an excuse to say you weren't raised seeing it. So somebody please tell me, you know, why do you feel like these people shouldn't have rights? Somebody help me out here. We can talk because one ear we have to say. One ear we have to tell me say. They didn't know if they have rights as people.
I think even growing up in high school, I didn't see that many homosexual people. I swear there was like 2 in the entire school, but there was more than that, you know, and it's because they were not comfortable enough to be themselves. And maybe even calling them derogatory names like Batty Boy or something.
So I'll just go in like that. Go up a bit so it's natural contoured, like so. And then I brush it upwards for it to not just be like a sharp line, but blended into my cheekbones. Then I do like the side up here, brush that in. Yeah guys, and I know that, you know, me doing a video and me doing this look isn't helping the LGBTQ community I don't know, get rights or anything, but what I do know is I'm using my very small platform to raise awareness, because that's what I can do. I can sign petitions when Trump bans all rights for the LGBT community. I can sign petitions for their health care benefits. You know, I can donate if I have the money. I just started working, I'm just saying. I can donate if I have the money. I can do other things, yeah, and I know my makeup video right now isn't doing much, but what it is doing is raising awareness, and that's a lot more than not just sitting and not doing anything. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just talking about my experiences, just educating you guys about what I've learned and how I've learned it and what I've experienced, and that's what it is. I'm not a part of the LGBTQ community, but I will support them to get their rights because they're people. So makeup is what I love to do, and if I can do that and raise awareness, then why not? You know, this is how some people know how to help. Can you see that? Really quickly, I'm going to contour my nose. The same bronzer I used on my cheekbones, I'm going to use on my nose.
So with all that being said, the Caribbean is still an amazing place with lots of culture to absorb and experience. But I just think with regards to their diversity in the LGBTQ community, they can be more accepting of, you know, their movement. I also think that the younger generation is contributing to this. The younger generation is so much more accepting of others and their decisions. So I think we have a far way to go, but slowly we'll be getting there.
Honestly, I love doing makeup. It's like my calm in the storm. But when I can use my platform to do something and raise awareness, I'm all for that. As I said earlier, I'm not saying this video is going to change anything, but I know it will help some people feel comfortable to talk about certain things, being from a certain background, being raised in a certain home. So it'll make some people feel comfortable enough to share their story about being uneducated and just being realistic about, you know, what they know, what they don't know, and their journey on learning more. And that's what mine was. Mine was a journey to learn more things and educate myself in what I didn't know. So I just want to thank you guys so much for watching, and yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. If you like this video, please like it, share it, subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and thank you guys so much for watching. Bye.